In our next session, we have a fireside chat featuring Mr. Animesh Agrawal, Principal, Blackstone, moderated by Mr. Dumith Fernando, Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange.
A very warm welcome to everyone who's tuning in from all around the world. This session will be focusing on the recent investment experience in Sri Lanka from one of the premier investors in the world. My name is Dumith Fernando, Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange and Asia Securities Group. Today it is my privilege to bring to you Animesh Agrawal, Principal of Blackstone Group, who is based out of Mumbai, India, to speak about one of Blackstone's recent investment experiences in Sri Lanka. Good afternoon, Animesh. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dumith. Very glad to be part of this forum. You and all the organizers have done a phenomenal job in organizing this forum under very challenging circumstances. So very, very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. You represent the Blackstone Group, the largest private investor in the world with $650 billion of assets under management around the world. You recently entered Sri Lanka for the first time through an almost 80% equity acquisition of Piramal Glass PLC, which is the premier and dominant glass packaging manufacturer in Sri Lanka, listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange. The transaction was worth about $45 million to you. Can you just walk us through this transaction to get things kicked off?
For sure. Let me begin with a quick overview of the Blackstone Group. Blackstone is the largest alternate asset management firm in the world, with a total assets under management of about $650 billion, which have grown at more than 20% CAGR over the last 20 years. It is listed on the NYSE under the ticker BX. Our investment philosophy is very simple. We back businesses with long-term growth potential led by exceptional management teams, and we invest in companies where we believe our network and expertise can add value. South Asia is an important geography for us. The market value of Blackstone's investment in South Asia is about $50 billion, which makes us one of the top business houses in South Asia. Blackstone also has deep expertise in the packaging space. The investment in Piramal Glass is our 7th investment globally in this sector over the last 2 decades. Also, this is our 3rd investment in Asia in the packaging space. We own EPL, which is the largest manufacturer of laminated tubes based out of India, and Xiaoxin, our leading rigid plastic packaging player for beauty and cosmetic industry based out of China. This long track record of investing in the packaging sector has enabled us to build a network of experts and advisors who work very closely with our portfolio companies. Talking about the current transaction, Blackstone acquired 100% of the glass packaging business of Piramal Glass in India for a headline enterprise value of $1 billion in March of this year. Piramal Glass is the #1 specialty glass packaging player in India, serving global consumer and pharmaceutical players. It has #1 market position in the nail polish bottle segment globally. PG Ceylon is the Sri Lankan subsidiary of this glass business. We acquired 56% in the company on the Sri Lankan Stock Exchange, which was followed by a mandatory offer as per the local regulations. Our total investment in Sri Lanka for this transaction is about 9 billion LKR, or about $45 million for acquiring a 79% stake in PG Ceylon.
Thank you, Animesh, for that overview of Blackstone Group as well as the transaction. As you mentioned, this transaction was part of a larger international transaction. And I'd be curious to understand your thought process and what role did the Sri Lankan operations of the global firm that you acquired play in the evaluation of the transaction, and how did it fit into your investment thesis? And through that, it would be great if you can touch on your assessment of Sri Lanka as an investment destination through the process.
For sure, Dumith. Sri Lanka operations of Piramal Glass are a big part of our investment thesis. PG Ceylon, which is the Sri Lankan arm, is the clear market leader in Sri Lanka. It has about 80% market share and is by far the largest player in the market. It is known for its best-in-class quality and supply chain capabilities. The Sri Lankan business is a large contributor to exports, driven by a combination of high-quality manufacturing at competitive cost in the global context. Currently, about 33% of the revenue of the company is exported. The business has potential to become a large exporter of specialty glass packaging going forward. While the traditional focus was historically been on catering to the domestic demand, over the last few years, PG Ceylon has developed deep capabilities to serve countries including US, Canada, Australia, Middle East, and India. With a cost-efficient manufacturing footprint, the company has become a preferred vendor of specialty spirit bottles to global liquor companies. The company is also a leader in design and innovation. The production facility at Horana has a capacity of about 300 tons per day. It also has a dedicated in-house decoration facility with ability to do ceramic as well as organic color printing, and has the ability to do short production runs, which are very important while serving the premium consumer segments. PG Ceylon is a net exporter, which provides a natural hedge against the local currency depreciation, which is a critical factor for dollar investors like ourselves. The company has a strong financial profile and delivered 13% revenue growth in FY21 with 25% plus EBITDA margin and 180% net income growth, despite the impact of COVID, which we are seeing around us. Dumith, talking about our evaluation of Sri Lanka as an investment destination, we believe Sri Lanka is well poised for accelerated growth over the coming years. Sri Lanka has one of the highest GDP per capita amongst the South Asian countries. It also has a geostrategic advantage by being close to the major global sea lanes, which gives it preferential market access to China, Middle East, Australia, and India. Sri Lanka has one of the Asia's highest literacy rates of 90% plus, with a large trainable workforce. The government in Sri Lanka has taken significant measures to boost domestic production and export, be it favorable tax rates or other incentives for manufacturing-related sectors. As we all know, Sri Lanka is also a very popular tourist destination. The expansion in tourism will continue to contribute to the economic growth and foreign exchange earnings. As the GDP grows, we expect the demand for premium and high-quality consumer products to continue to see solid growth. And our investment, PG Ceylon, is well positioned to capture this growth in demand.
Thank you. Now, talking through your investment process, since this was in particular your first investment in Sri Lanka, could you talk us through the entry process? So starting from the investment evaluation to the due diligence process to transaction closing and execution. What was your experience like, and what are some of the factors that made it go smoothly? Because I know you had a fairly tight timeline on getting everything done.
Absolutely. And as you rightly said, executing a successful deal has many components, and firms like ourselves look for sort of being able to execute the end-to-end process in a timely fashion. The Sri Lankan business environment in general is very conducive for foreign investors, and we were impressed by the whole investment process. The regulators, the advisors, the capital market players, as well as investors are doing their best and are highly supportive of foreign investments. For example, the process of entry of capital, the process of exit of capital, currency exchanges, doing a trade on the Sri Lankan exchanges are all seamless and very well designed for foreign investors. In addition, there is no dearth of management talent. Sri Lankan companies are led by a very capable and experienced management team, like we have seen in the case of PG Ceylon. As more and more foreign investors realize the potential of Sri Lanka and the GDP continues to grow, we will see exponential growth in investing and the business landscape.
Okay. And I guess alongside entry for large and smart investors like you all, exit is also something that you're always thinking about, even at the point of entry. How do you consider the exit options that you see for investments in Sri Lanka, and what sort of options do you believe are available for particularly large investments like the one you just made?
Absolutely. So we are a long-term investors. We have a very long investment horizon when we invest in companies. As you said, exit is a very important criteria as we think of investments in any geography or any sector. We believe that there would always be buyers for good quality growing businesses. And PG Ceylon fits that bill perfectly. As the company scales to become a leading supplier of glass packaging to consumer companies globally, it will be an attractive target for both strategic as well as financial investors. Sri Lankan public as well as private investment markets are well developed to facilitate both of these routes of exit. And we believe in the coming years, both the interest from investors and the liquidity of market will keep increasing, facilitating a smooth exit.
Okay, thank you. So I guess in closing, what lessons have you learned and what advice would you give other large foreign investors in their process of evaluating investment options in Sri Lanka?
Our advice would be to get in early. Sri Lanka is ripe for exponential growth going forward, and you would want to get on the bus early. Focus on the sectors with long-term tailwinds and invest for the long term. And finally, the regulators and the business community are very supportive of foreign investments here. So jump right in.
Okay, thank you very much, Animesh. I think we heard some great insights into the investment process, the investment thinking, and the thesis that you went through. And I have no doubt that will be of great importance to many of our audience here today. So there you have it, everyone. We have one of the premier investors in the world who has just entered Sri Lanka, and you've had an opportunity to hear firsthand from them about their experience and the outlook they have for the investment climate in Sri Lanka. Animesh, thank you very much. This was a great opportunity to hear firsthand from you and the Blackstone Group, and I wish you well in your first and hopefully not last investment experience in Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dumith. Thank you for having me.